Hello and welcome to the NJCAA Sports Page. I'm Robert Williamson. First, some explanations. Why the casual look? It is hot, very hot here in Texarkana, Arkansas. Why Texarkana? That's because we are shooting on a Friday night in which we're doing some production for the Great American Rivalries. We'll talk more about some of the production work we do in just a bit. Let's talk junior college football and start with the #1 ranked team in the nation, East Mississippi, taking on #4 Copiah Lincoln last night. East Mississippi had won 25 games in a row. The last time they lost, 2012. Ironically, it was to a Copiah Lincoln squad in the state playoffs to grab the Mississippi State title in 12. Since that time, East Mississippi had gone on a tear, winning a couple of national championships. Well, the win streak is over. Last night, Copiah Lincoln with a final 31-24 in overtime. Is Copiah Lincoln the new East Mississippi? Only time will tell. The #2 ranked team in the nation is Arizona Western. They have Scottsdale this weekend. The Artichokes, that's always a tough battle, despite the fact Scottsdale is unranked. Look for them to have a tough time, Arizona Western, against this Scottsdale squad. #3 Nassau taking on Navy Prep. We've already talked about the #4 ranked Copiah Lincoln, but there are a couple of #4 ranked teams. Hutchinson is #4 as well, and they take on Fort Scott. Fort Scott unranked, but they are not that far removed from a title game. You might recall they played Blinn in the national championship game, a game in which Cam Newton was the starting quarterback for Blinn. #9, Mississippi Gulf Coast. They faced Northwest Mississippi, the #14 ranked team in the nation last night. Another upset. Gulf Coast, they've got reputation, they've got an earned history on their side, but Northwest just not impressed last night, knocked off Gulf Coast by a final of 26-10. We will see if that knocks Gulf Coast not only out of the top 10, it'll do that, but may knock them out of the top 20. Of course, this game that you are watching at halftime, possibly, it is #11 Kilgore taking on #12 Georgia Military College. Georgia Military College 2-0 coming into this one, including a romp last week, 81-7 over Middle Georgia State. Meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, you've got a Kilgore squad which derailed Arkansas Baptist in the opening week of the season, 54-14. We'll see how these two teams fare in the remainder of half of this one. It's also Blinn taking on Tyler. This is a interesting game to me. Tyler, I think, is one of the better teams in the nation. As a matter of fact, they knocked off a Trinity Valley squad when they were ranked #2, and they walk into a stadium in which Trinity Valley owns. There's 8,000 people there. They've got the #2 ranking in the nation, but Tyler unimpressed, and they defeat the Trinity Valley squad 71-64 and produced better than 755 yards of offense, taking on a Blinn squad that was unranked in the preseason polls, but they're beginning to creep their way into the polls after bombing Texas A&T 38-3. This is going to tell us how good is Tyler and is Blinn worthy of a top 20 ranking. #16 Rochester taking on Minnesota West. #17 Central Lakes has got Ridgewater. There's also #18 and #19 battle in the Southwestern Junior College Football Conference. It is Navarro and Trinity Valley. Trinity Valley's lost 2 in a row, came into the season #2 in the nation. They were unbeaten a year ago. They've lost 2 straight, could be 3 in a row as they take on Navarro, who is 1-1 on the year. Iowa Western got upset last week by Coffeyville in overtime, dropped to the #13 spot and were previously ranked #3 in the nation. They take on Butler, a 10-ranked squad. And again, Butler, or make that Iowa Western, is sort of in a position like Trinity Valley. They're in a position where they're highly ranked going in and could lose 2 in a row against a top 10 squad in Butler. And then Hines, the #20 ranked team in the nation, they had football on Thursday night as they took on Northeast Mississippi, won that game by a 44-13 final. So obviously Hines, they haven't hurt themselves, as a matter of fact, will likely rise in the new NJCAA football polls released next week. Here's that spot on the program where we always take a look at an NJCAA football player who went on to perform in the NFL. This gentleman, his name Donald Jones, had a very inspiring first 3 years. As a matter of fact, looked like there was much promise for Donald Jones. He was a free agent taken by the Buffalo Bills, 82 grabs, almost 800 yards, 10 touchdowns in those 3 seasons. All of a sudden, he's cut by the Bills, picked up by the New England Patriots. They cut him, and then shortly thereafter, we find out why. He's got a chronic kidney disease that forced him to retire from the NFL early. But Where did he start his career? Where did he play NJCAA football? We'll find out a little bit later on in the program, and it will be right after this break. At the 36-yard line. Jarvis Hall
awfully close. Kemp will wave and miss. Strikeout, getting over. The Royal team leads the man at third.
Before we give you big performances and before we talk about a big story, why don't we give you the latest college top 20 NJCAA football polls and also the latest JCSN football polls, the Junior College Sports Network. Here are both. All right, big is accentuated here. Big performance and big story involving either current NJCAA players and athletes or former ones. Let's talk about a big performance from the guy who was at the helm for the Coffeyville squad in their overtime win over Iowa Western. The quarterback Riley Ferguson, a North Carolina product, who, by the way, played college football for a year at Tennessee, then was out for a bit, comes back. This is his first season back. 35 of 50, 458 yards, 3 touchdowns, and also rushed for a touchdown in Coffeyville's upset win over then third-ranked Iowa Western. Definitely big performance, needs to be recognized, of Riley Ferguson. The big story that involves a former NJCAA baseball player. I know we're talking football primarily, but when you pitch a no-hitter, we got to move over to baseball for just a moment. Former Weatherford College standout Jake Arrieta, who pitched the 6th no-hitter in the majors this season and the 2nd one in 10 days, and I believe something like 3 in 3 weeks in the majors. Did it on Sunday night with that win, 2-zip the Cubs over the Dodgers. He is a Plano East High School product, went to play at Weatherford, and then finished his collegiate career at TCU. Well, let's talk about the gentleman, Donald Jones, who had the great start in the NFL despite being undrafted. He was an undrafted free agent, caught 82 passes, then kidney disease hampered his ability to perform in the NFL, had to retire. Since then, tried his hand in Major League Baseball, writing a book now. Donald Jones, where did he start his junior college career? Well, it was at Lackawanna. Thanks so much for being a part of the NJCAA Sports Page. Quick reminder, we produce games all over the country. As I mentioned, we're in Texarkana, Arkansas here at Arkansas High School shooting this one. Meanwhile, we are going to be in Kilgore on Saturday, and that's how you're watching coverage if you're catching this at halftime of the Kilgore, Georgia military game. Next week on Sunday, we will be in Harrisonburg, Virginia, Georgia Military College taking on ASA. We'll have the live coverage. Also, a quick reminder, you might want to catch Talkin' Sports with Big C. He's a big little Alabama fan. You check him out on JockJive.com. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Great to have you on this edition of the NJCAA Sports Page. We'll see you next time.